Mesdames, Messieurs, bonsoir. My name is Pierre, he is Nobu, and welcome to Frenchy Tabo Talks. A few weeks ago, a 23-year-old YouTuber named Nick Shirley did something extraordinary. He released a 42-minute video about daycare centers in Minnesota. Somali-run facilities receiving millions in taxpayer funding with one massive problem. There were no children in them. Empty buildings collecting public money. Within days, Nick discovered 100 million in fraud in a single day, just using his smartphone and his camera. And I thought to myself, what if I, using artificial intelligence, did exactly the same thing, but in France? And here's what I found. The system in France doesn't hide corruption. It celebrates it. It decorates it. It gives the highest honors to its own thieves. What you're going to hear in the next 8 minutes shows you how France is not just corrupt, it's structurally corrupt. I will split my presentation in 6 parts. First part, the framework. Nick Shirley found fraud through investigation. But here's the key detail. The fraud wasn't new. It had been known since 2017. State officials knew, but they ignored it. Why? Because the Somali immigrant community was politically useful, good for votes. So the fraud continued. Nobody stopped it. Until a Gen Z kid with a camera said, "No, I'm exposing this." The scandal grew. It forced the fall of Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor who was chosen by Vice President Kamala Harris as a running mate for 2024 election. She picked him in August 24. They ran together. They lost to Trump and Vance in November. But January 2025, after Nick's video, after the investigation grew, Walz withdrew from his bid to run for re-election as governor. The fraud scandal destroyed his political future. This is the power of exposure. One Gen Z kid with facts. That's what brings down a political career. Now, with AI, let me show you France. Our system is far worse. So what is a French association? In France, there are thousands of non-profit associations. They're called Loi 1901 Association. They receive public money from the state, from regions, from cities. They manage services, daycare, migrant support, training, culture, sport. The state gives 23 billion euro per year to this association. 23 billion? That's more than the defense budget, more than the labor budget. Imagine analyzing all of them with AI, finding the anomalies, finding the fraud. That's what we did. The first thing you notice, 56% of these associations never publish their accounts. They're legally required to since 2009, but they don't. And there are no consequences, 0 penalties ever applied. Part 2. Meet Jean François Carenco. He's 72 years old. He studied at HEC, then ENA. You need to understand what that means. HEC, best French business school. The ENA, the École Nationale d'Administration, France's National School of Administration, is the most elite institution in France. It produces the highest civil servant, the decision makers, the people who run the state. The president goes there, the prime ministers, the judges, the high-ranking bureaucrats. In other words, the elite. Carenco is ENA, and that matters. He became a judge, he became a mayor, he became a prefect, essentially a regional governor appointed by the president. He even became a minister for a year, and then he became president of Coallia. Coallia manages housing and support for asylum seekers across France. 148 million per year in public subsidies. 5,000 employees, 760 facilities. In January 2025, just weeks ago, the territorial director in Val-de-Marne gets arrested. Fraud charges. He diverted 12 million euro through fake contracts, fake consulting agreements, companies that weren't real, money that disappeared. In other words, a baby Somalian Minnesota case. So Carenco's association lost 12 million euro. Oversight failure? Perhaps. Negligence? Possibly. But what happens next? In May 2025, while the fraud instigation is still ongoing, Jean François Carenco received a nomination. Not a reprimand, not a resignation demand. A nomination for the Grand Officier of the National Order of Merit. If you were running in a private company, you would get fired straight. This is France's highest civil decoration, the Order of Merit. It's awarded to people who have served the nation with distinction. It's an honor, it's prestigious, it's supposed to mean something. The French government is saying officially, publicly, "Congratulations, Jean François, we recognize your services," while his organization lost 12 million euro to fraud, while millions were diverted through his oversight. And this isn't oversight or incompetence. This is the system saying, you ran the organization, 1 million disappeared, here's a medal, Jean François. The system is celebrating its own fraudsters. The ENA produces these people: judges, mayor, prefect, minister, association presidents, always the same elite, always protected. When one of them gets caught in fraud, the system doesn't punish, it protects, it decorates. Carenco represents everything wrong with French power. An ENA graduate moving between prestigious positions, overseeing billions, and when fraud happens under his watch, he gets a medal. This isn't France punishing fraud, this is France celebrating it. Some other fraud example: Maya Lotto, 14 million collected from fake lotteries for disabled children, 943,000 distributed, 93% stolen, 2 Jaguars, a 255,000 house. Coallia, millions of euros diverted through fake consulting contracts, directors paying themselves million unjustified salaries. Nagui, a French TV presenter. In 2017, this guy and producer bought 20 million euro in Banjay shares using a holding company. Where did that money come from? Public subsidies, government television contracts, French television funding it. He enriched himself with French citizen tax money. But Carenco is different. Carenco is a pure example, a high bureaucrat. Through his watch, stealing public money, getting caught, getting a medal. That's the story of France. Act 3. The audit court is currently investigating French television spending. It's their job, it's normal, it's transparency. They discovered anomalies, bizarre expenses, unjustified contracts, money disappearing. Then Charles Laloncle stepped forward. He's a deputy in the National Assembly. He's the rapporteur, the investigator and reporter of the Commission investigating public audiovisual media. France Television, Radio France, he says, "I propose we use our right of raid, that we conduct direct verification of the accounts." It's his right, it's his duty, transparency. But at the moment raids are mentioned, the very second someone says, "We'll investigate directly," the investigation becomes closed door. The door shut. Behind closed door, secret, no public debate, no transparency. Why does mentioning an investigation shut down an investigation? Because there are powerful people at risk. The system protects itself. When you get too close to expose fraud in the high places, the doors close. The investigations go secret. The elite decide what you're allowed to know. Act 4. Teachers are being forgotten. Let me show you the inversion. Teachers educate your children, the future. That's vital. You pay them through taxes. Average salary, €2,000 per month after 20 years of career. They work unpaid hours. They buy supplies from their own pockets. They are exhausted. Many commit suicide. The highest suicide rates among professionals. But the state says, sorry, no budget to raise teachers' salaries. Yet the state gives 23 billion to association. 56% don't ever publish accounts. Portions are stolen. Association directors get medals. Farmers abandoned. Farmers produce your food. That's vital. You pay them through subsidies. Average income, €1,500 per month before taxes. Suicide rates among farmers are the highest in France, higher than any other profession. But the state says, let market forces decide. Signing the Mercosur. While the state gives 53 billion for immigration services, of it opaque, referred to my first episode, huge portion disappears, and the people running it, they get medals. Entrepreneurs suffocated. Starting a business in France is a nightmare. Massive social charges, huge taxes, bureaucratic hell. An entrepreneur must pay over 40% of their profits in charges. Meanwhile, the state gives billions to associations. Association directors enrich themselves with public money. No competition, no efficiency. Just state-funded corruption. French entrepreneurs struggle while the system feeds itself. Act 5, the revelation. You understand now why the title is France is worse than the Minnesota Somalian Learning Center? In Minnesota, Nick Shirley exposed fraud. The Trump administration shut down the funding. Investigation happened. Prosecutions are ongoing. People are facing charges. It's transparent. In France, Carenco Association loses 12 million euro. He gets a medal. In Minnesota, fraud triggers consequences. In France, fraud triggers decoration. France is worse than the United States, not better, worse. Because the system doesn't hide corruption, it celebrates it. There are 3 tiers in the French corruption. Tier 1, association directors diverting millions, Coallia, Coallia, Mayaloto, and so more. They rarely face real prosecution. They continue, they prosper. Tier 2, politicians and judges protecting them. The investigation closed, the door shut, secret proceedings, the elite protecting the elite. Tier 3, the state honoring them, Carenco in May 2025 receiving the highest decoration, not in secret, officially, publicly. This is normal French system operation. It's not a scandal, it's the structure. The conclusion. You never hear this story fully told on French television. Why? Because it belongs to the government, but also because investigations shut down when you get too close, because powerful people enriching themselves have the means to stop them, because the state itself is complicit. An ENA graduate still gets caught, he gets a medal. A teacher earned €2,000, a farmer €1,500, an entrepreneur is bled dry. 23 billion euro disappear into opacity, 53 billion for immigration with zero transparency, huge portions stolen, directors get medal, the audit court closes investigation. It's not a scandal, it's a system. And the most scandalous part, the system celebrates itself. Thank you for watching Frenchy Taboo Talks. I'm Pierre, this is Nobu. Good evening.